Let's discuss about read aloud and repeat sentence of PTE speaking in this video. Read aloud is a very important section in PTE speaking because along with describe image and retell lecture, it contains maximum marks of speaking. So make sure you prepare all these three sections properly to get good marks in PTE speaking. So in this video, I'll be dealing with read aloud and repeat sentence, and I'll be providing you some of the tips to get good marks in these two sections. So first of all, fluency and pronunciation. Fluency and pronunciation is very important in PTE because it is assessed continuously in each and every subsection of PTE speaking. So make sure your fluency and pronunciation is good in order to get higher marks in PTE speaking. So first of all, try to maintain same fluency throughout the test. It's very important factor because try not to fluctuate your fluency again and again. This will impact your score negatively. So try to maintain same pace and same speed throughout the test. If you fluctuate your fluency again and again, the PTE software will detect this as a communication issue and it will give you less marks. So make sure your fluency is similar throughout the test. So for example, in read aloud, you have text on the screen. So just try not to speed up in read aloud and try not to slow down in describe image. Maintain same pace, same speed and same fluency throughout the test to get good marks. Second is pronunciation. In order to improve your pronunciation, try to listen to yourself, because it will help you identify your errors. In order to identify pronunciation mistakes, you need to record to yourself and you need to listen to yourself again and again. This will give you a clear idea that where are you making mistakes. So next is read aloud. In read aloud, marks are awarded on the basis of content, fluency and pronunciation. And in content, each replacement, omission or insertion of a word counts as one error. So try not to replace any word, or try not to delete any word or miss any word, or try not to insert any word, because this will be counted as one error. And fluency marks are 5 and pronunciation marks are also 5 in each and every section. Next is, first of all, in your preparation time, make sure you read the whole text loudly. Read the whole text and try to understand it, because reading the whole text loudly will give you a clear idea about some of the difficult words. So try not to read in your mind, just try not to read just with the eyes without moving your lips. So make sure you read the whole text loudly, because it will help you to speak properly in the next recording time. So try to read it and understand it. Understanding the text is again important because understanding the text will help you in intonation. It will give you a clear idea to use rising and falling intonation. If you understand the meaning of the text, it will be helpful for you and you can speak naturally rather than artificially. And try to take necessary pauses in between, especially on punctuation. Where there is full stop or comma, make sure you take a small pause. And make sure you take necessary pauses in between the long sentences. And repeat the difficult words 2-3 times to be sure in your practice time. In your preparation time, make sure you try to pronounce the difficult words 2 to 3 times, because you have sufficient time for preparation and this will help you in your recording time. So make sure you repeat the difficult words again and again in your practice time. Next is, try not to speak naturally. Don't speak artificially. Don't try to copy any accent. Don't just try to sound smart. Make sure you talk naturally in your own accent. So try to talk in normal pace. Don't rush, because you have a text on your screen. This doesn't mean you should rush. Make sure you're talking on normal pace. And try to finish the sentence, try to finish the whole text in 30 to 35 seconds. And don't stress about it. Don't stress about the timing. And don't look at the timer while recording. Because while in practice time, if you talked the whole text loudly, you will have a clear idea that in how many seconds you are finishing the text. So don't look at the timer while recording. In your practice time while you're speaking the text loudly, you will have a clear idea about the timing. And the speak same way as it's written. For example, that's, that is, it's, it is, wanna, want to. So make sure you speak the way it's written on the text. Don't just switch it. If that is written there, make sure you speak it like that is. Don't switch it with that's. So make sure you speak the same way as it is written. Next is, for example, let's take this example. Motivation as a desire to perform an action is usually defined as having two parts. Directional, such as directed towards a positive stimulus or away from a negative one, as well as the activated seeking phase and consummatory liking phase. For example, in your practice time, you read this sentence, you read the whole text and you will get a clear idea about different parts. It will help you to break the text into small parts. It will help you to place correct stress on correct words. It will help you in intonation as well, like where to use rising intonation, where to use falling intonation. So try to talk naturally. So in this text, try to place stress on important words such as motivation, desire, action, two parts, directional, directed, and positive stimulus, negative one, seeking phase, liking phase. These are the words where you should place stress. Try not to place stress on other words such as an, is, am, are, will, shall, have, has. These type of words do not require any stress. So make sure you place stress on correct words such as motivation as a desire to perform an action is usually defined as having two parts. Directional, such as directed towards a positive stimulus or away from a negative one, as well as the activated seeking phase and consummatory liking phase. So the words like consummatory, you need to pronounce these words in your preparation time. So try to break the paragraph into different parts and try to place the stress. And don't worry about these technicalities too much, because if you talk naturally, if you understand the paragraph, this will help you to place the stress on correct words. This will help you in intonation automatically. So just don't go into too deep into these technicalities. Make sure you read the paragraph loudly in your preparation time. Make sure that you understand the paragraph. This is the website www.manythings.org. You can practice read alouds, retell lecture, as well as listening summaries and listening practice you can do from this website. This is very beneficial website. They have some written scripts as well as they have some audio scripts as well. So just try to practice using this website. Next is repeat sentence. In repeat sentence, 3 marks are awarded on the basis of content. Again, 5 for fluency, 5 for pronunciation. So in content marks, replacements, omissions and insertions are considered as errors. Any hesitations, failed or unfilled pauses, leading or trailing materials are ignored in the scoring of content. So, however, hesitations and pauses are ignored in content, but they are scored in fluency. So, they are more dangerous than content. So, make sure you avoid hesitations and pauses instead of wasting your time to find out the correct content. Make sure you don't take pauses or don't just lead to leading and trailing material. So 3 marks are awarded if all words in the response from the prompt in the correct sequence. 2 marks, at least 50% of the words in the response from the prompt in the correct sequence. So this is very important, 50%. So if you have spoken 50% correct words in correct sequence, you will be given with 2 marks. If you have spoken less than 50% of the words from the prompt in the correct sequence, then also you can get 1 mark. So technically try to speak as much as you can. So this will give you content marks. So in repeat sentence, what you can do is try to write the first letter of every word. I used this strategy. I write first letter of every word. For example, they are saying I'm going to train station. So make sure you write the first letter. I, am. For M you can write the M as well, M letter as well. I am going, G, to, T, train, to the, T, train, T, station, S. So this is how you can easily memorize the sentence, and you can reproduce it easily if you have written the first letter of every word. Don't try to write the whole letter. Don't try to write the whole sentence, because this will divert your attention and you will not be able to memorize the sentence. And try to understand it. Just try to understand what message the speaker is conveying. So this way you can reproduce it easily. Next is be careful with the grammar. Grammar is very important in repeat sentence. For example, you have heard, I have seen a tiger. So if you know the grammar, you know with have we use third form of verb. So you will say it like, I have seen a tiger. Suppose you have heard, why aren't we go in there? Why aren't we go in there? So if you know the grammar, you will say it like, why aren't we going there? Instead of go in there, we'll say going there, because we know the grammar that this sentence isn't correct. Why aren't we go in there? This isn't correct, so we'll modify this. For example, you heard, was she going? So you can't say was she going? You can't say was she going? It must be where's she going? So you can't use the word were or was, however you heard it this way. So suppose you heard, was she going? So I know you have heard that was she going, but if you know the grammar, you can replace it with where is she going? So this is how grammar will help you a lot in repeat sentence. So next is, for example, in this case, motivation is a desire to perform an action. There are total 8 words. What you will do is, you will note down the first letter of every word. M is A, D, T, P, N, A. So this is how you can you can reproduce it. Motivation is a desire to perform an action. For example, just in case you don't remember all the words, just try to repeat the words which you have heard in proper fluency. Like you can say motivation, desire to an action. So if you haven't heard some of the words, don't just take pauses. You shouldn't say motivation, this desire to action. So this is how you will lose your fluency marks. If you heard 3 words, just try to reproduce 3 words in same sequence in proper fluency. You can say motivation, desire to an action, rather than saying motivation is a. So this is how you will lose your fluency marks. And try not to correct yourselves. For example, you said motivation, desire to an action, and suddenly you remember the whole sentence. Don't repeat it. Don't say motivation is a desire to. So this is how you may get marks for content. However, you won't get marks for content as well, because you have spoken the same text before. So you may or may not get marks for content, but you will lose your fluency marks, and it's more dangerous than content. Fluency and pronunciation marks are more dangerous because they impact your overall score. So the other thing what you can do is, you can replace some of the words. I know this will lose your content marks if you replace some of the words, but your fluency and pronunciation marks will be awarded. For example, you can say motivation is a describe to perform an auction. It's okay, you have replaced 2 words or 3 words, but your fluency is good and at least 50% of your words are in correct sequence. So you will get 2 marks in content and 5 in fluency, 5 in pronunciation, instead of just taking some of the pauses. Next is, in emergencies, suppose you didn't hear anything. Press next immediately instead of saying words with hesitations and pauses. Suppose that was the sentence. The speaker said motivation is a desire to perform an action. Suppose you haven't heard any word. Don't waste your time. Don't just try to reproduce anything. Like, don't just try to say motivation was desire, and motivation was desire. So this way you will lose your fluency marks. If you didn't hear anything, not even a single word, just press next. Because repeat sentences are not very important. Read aloud, describe image, and retell lecture are important. And if you miss 2 to 3 repeat sentences, still you can get 89 or 90 marks. Instead of losing your fluency marks, don't just try to reproduce anything. Press next immediately if you haven't heard anything in repeat sentence. And if you heard 2-3 words but not sure, just reproduce them as it is without hesitations and pauses. For example, these are the words you have heard: is, a, to perform an action. So you can just reproduce them quickly. Is, a, to perform an action. Or you can say is, a, to perform an action. Instead of saying motivation, it was perform action. So this is how your fluency marks will be less if you just show hesitations and pauses. Or what you can do is fill them with anything. Suppose they said motivation, and you can just replace it with mitigation. Mitigation is a desire to bring an action. I know in this way you will lose your marks in content, but still there are chances you will get marks in fluency and pronunciation. And however, you may not get marks for fluency and pronunciation in the same particular subsection, but in other subsections it will impact your score. Fluency and pronunciation is assessed continuously. The software assesses fluency and pronunciation continuously. Suppose you have done very well in all the sections, but in 3 to 4 items you just said a lot of pause, you just taken a lot of pauses, and you just said a lot of wrong words, and you just repeated some of the words in 3 to 4 items. It will impact your overall score. So I know it's not written anywhere, but I have assessed, like, fluency and pronunciation is assessed continuously by the PTE software. So make sure you don't lose your fluency pronunciation marks. So just replace it with anything. You can say mitigation is a desire to bring an action. This way your fluency won't be affected. In particular item you may get 0 in fluency, but overall your fluency will be good instead of taking pauses. So make sure you don't lose fluency and pronunciation. I'm repeating this again and again. And you can use some fillers as well, not in repeat sentence, but in other sentences like describe image and retell lecture. Try to use fillers instead of pauses. You can fill it. Let me think about it. In describe image, instead of just taking pause, you can say let me think about it. Let me refer my notes related to this graph. So this is how try not to lose your fluency. Again, read aloud is very important along with describe image and retell lecture. Each and every subsection, each and every item of read aloud is scored differently on the basis of fluency, pronunciation as well as content. Again, with describe image, suppose there are 10 describe images. In all these describe images, fluency, pronunciation and content are scored individually. Next is, don't stress if you have missed 1 to 2 repeat sentences or you have missed the whole section of repeat sentences. Don't stress, don't worry, you can still get good marks in speaking. I've seen so many people who missed 2 to 3 repeat sentences and still got 90 marks, because in this they take average. In speaking section there are a lot of sections and there are a lot of items and there are a lot of marks, and out of them they take average. So if you have missed 1 to 2 marks, still you can get good marks, because our aim is 79 marks and total marks are 90. So it doesn't matter if you get 80 marks or 89 marks. Suppose you have lost all the repeat sentences, still you can get 80 marks or 85 marks. So don't stress, don't worry, just don't let your other sections suffer due to repeat sentences. Don't lose your confidence because of repeat sentences, and don't just mess up with other sections such as retell lecture and describe image because of this repeat sentence. So make sure you do well in read aloud, describe image and retell lecture. And again, for the last time I'm repeating, fluency and pronunciation is assessed continuously as a continuous process, not individually. So make sure you maintain same fluency in the whole test and same pronunciation in the whole test. Try not to fluctuate your speed, try not to change your speed, try not to change your accent, try not to change the way you speak. Be natural, just maintain same fluency and pronunciation. So hope this video helps. Thank you.